Well, welcome back to the console room. I am super excited to bring you the first episode of Peter Capaldi called Deep Breath. Yes, and we are not alone. We are again joined by the amazing Jason Roy Gaston. We thank you for joining us into this fray once again into your favorite dog. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Peter Capaldi is my favorite doctor, and I will fight you.
Nope, I will be your tag team partner on that.
Well, you'll
Excellent.
get
I was just changing the
no
subject.
fisticuffs
Peter
from me,
Capaldi is
sir,
my
'cause
favorite
I
doctor.
enjoyed his
Period. I will fight you. That's just it.
Okay.
All
right.
Time Lords, Time Ladies,
fantastic.
welcome back to the console room. Captain Joe Dove has just said that we will be doing the first Peter Capaldi episode, Deep Breath, Season 8, Series 8, Episode 1. Written by the great Stephen Moffat and directed by Ben Wheatley. I think we've seen that name before. He's directed a couple other episodes. And keeping in our tradition with the
Any relation to Will
firsts, Wheatley. Wheatley. Not Wheaton.
Oh. Cousin?
Oh my
Excuse me.
God, Joe. Oh my God.
That was awful.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
So we have a lot to go through this episode. Let's roll that doctor footage. Did he freeze again?
I don't know.
I don't know, but that is not exactly the doctor.
Doctor Who?
Doctor Who? Doctor Who? Doctor Who?
Fellas, you're never going to stop asking.
So did the whole thing play?
It played, yes.
I don't know.
Eventually it did.
Skippy on my side.
Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse Captain
okay.
Joe.
Awesome.
His TARDIS is
that
going
out.
through its own regeneration.
My internet sucks. Verizon, you suck.
Luckily, Verizon is not a sponsor, and after that
I
tirade,
love how they
don't think they
slowed
will
him
be.
down just for that.
Yeah.
Well, their defense, I don't think they were going to be in the first place, so it's all good.
Yeah, I kind of figured as much. But hey, at least I was smart enough not to go with the T-Mobile home internet. Okay, this has been product bashing with the console room. So, on to Doctor Who. Peter Capaldi, born 14 April 1958, is the one and only Academy Award-winning actor to play the Doctor. Peter Capaldi won for writing and directing a short film in 1993 called Franz Kafka's It's a Wonderful Life. I have looked for this short film. I have yet to succeed in seeing it, but I will continue to look for it. Little background on the wonderful Peter Capaldi. He first appeared in Doctor Who in the episode Fires of Pompeii, 402 in 2008. Thank you, Joe. Which this actually turns into a subplot as Peter Capaldi's time as the Doctor progresses. He says, even in first time seeing his face, where do I know this face from? So this is going to come back. Also in the episode Fires of Pompeii, a young lady by the name of Karen Gilliam played one of the minions. Also, as she went on to become the companion Amy Pond. Peter Capaldi also appeared in an episode of Torchwood, Children of Earth in 2009. And even though this was his first episode, Deep Breath was Peter Capaldi's first episode as the Doctor. He did appear in the 50th anniversary special, Time of the Doctor. And I love this picture because, yes, when you watch Doctor Who with the captions on, that is what it reads.
That's amazing.
Capaldi intensifies.
Capaldi with
Perfect.
his attack eyebrows.
Yeah.
And there was another
They do have a mind of their own.
one amazing thing about Peter Capaldi. Not only was he a lifelong Doctor Who fan, he was the president of the Doctor Who fan club, and he's imaged himself a lot like John Pertwee, and is friends with John Pertwee's son,
Sean,
John.
yes.
And
Yes.
they do appearances together in various circuits at conventions. So I thought that was pretty cool. And he actually flew to Connecticut when John Pertwee passed to spend time with his family, which I did. I read an interview with Mr. Pertwee, and he mentioned that. So it's a lot of love. And there was an option for him to be in Doctor Who, but he ended up filming Gotham instead. So missed opportunity.
Definitely a missed opportunity. However, as time's going by, Sean is looking just more and more like his father.
Yeah.
So it's not an opportunity that could not be taken up again in the future, especially with all the stuff that they're doing now on iPlayer and BBC and the BBC with the Adventures of the Tardis and whatnot. Oh God, how awesome would that be for John Pertwee to put on the smoking jacket and just even have him driving Bessie? That would be awesome.
Sean Pertwee actually dressed
It's
as
Sean.
his father as Doctor Who for Halloween one year, and he's the
Oh, that
spitting
must have been
image.
awesome. He
Spitting
Really?
is.
Oh, I gotta
Oh,
find that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I did not know that piece of it. I did not know that. Awesome. Yes, we will definitely have to be looking that up. Friends, if you're listening, if you happen to know the pictures that Jason's talking about, please drop us a line, tag us on socials, the console room on Instagram, and let us see, because I definitely need to see Sean Pertwee as dressed up as his dad.
There you go. All right. So, in this enticing episode, we get a familiar faces to
Many
join.
familiar faces.
Yes, to join the Good Doctor. But overall, what was your first experience with this Doctor? How did he? Did you warm up immediately, or did it take time? Like for me, it took a minute for me to warm up to David Tennant, but I love David Tennant at the end of his time. I love Matt Smith instantly. I love Jodie instantly. And how did you guys feel about Peter?
Jason?
Well, it admittedly it took me a little bit to warm up to him, and that's mostly because I had just adopted children in 2011, and we bonded watching Matt Smith's Doctor Who episodes. And so to say goodbye to Matt Smith was like saying goodbye to this bonding moment between me and my kids. They were just like, "Oh, the new Doctor's old. He's not hot," and they just didn't want to watch the show anymore. So yeah, it took me a few episodes to kind of get used to him, but I think that is the that is the norm for new Doctors. And incidentally, I'm a wizard. Watch this. Ready?
Okay. Oh, look at you! Look, he got it.
Awesome!
That's amazing, Mr. Wizard. How did you
Yes,
do that?
thank you. How did I do
You
that?
are a
Well,
wizard, sir.
I like to keep it a mystery just to let people know how good I am.
That's awesome.
The
That's
only thing that could have made that move better is if, as you were putting on the sunglasses, you started playing The Who. That
Oh,
would have
yeah.
been the only thing.
Yeah, but then when
But
you
you
got
don't hear it?
copywritten, yeah,
You
just
don't hear it.
imagine
I-
Not
it's
the
there.
I hear
screen,
it.
you
It's
can just
playing
play
right
the
now.
screen.
It's playing. Yeah, just imagine it, because I'm not paying for Doctor. They're not
I'm
going to
imagining it.
What about
Pays
you?
to buy the best.
What about you, Ernesto? How was it for you when you met this new Doctor?
Like most people, after so many years of David Tennant and Matt Smith, you're kind of used to the handsome young guy, and then when you hear that this older man is gonna be, I didn't really know much about Peter Capaldi. In fact, honestly, I hadn't seen anything from him. He really wasn't known all that well in the States, except for people who watched BBC America a lot, which admittedly I did not.
I did. I knew him.
No, I did not. I So in a way, I went into this blind, just seeing, I just seeing the Capaldi intensifying and seeing what he looks like, and I'm like, okay, we're doing this. We're throwing back to, to the olden days of Doctor Who when it was an older gentleman. Okay, all right, let's see how this plays out, and it played out beautifully. What they did with Clara in this is exactly the way any, not just a woman with, affection towards this guy, even though she kept saying he's not my boyfriend. There was some affection for 11. And then all of a sudden to see it, and she even says it to Madame Vastra, and Vastra is the one who actually calls her out on her bullshit, which I loved. But change him back. Oh, what? Because he's not young and handsome anymore? So that I think that was an intentional slap at the audience. Anyone who's thinking the way Clara was at that moment. No.
Yeah.
This is your doctor, and just let him be.
I really hope my girls are listening right now.
Speaking of Clara, let's hop into companions.
See, I met this person and I got whooshed away across all space and time. I mean, I had the most amazing adventures, really. I mean, you wait till you hear, because I'm going to tell you them all.
So aside from Clara returning as a companion, we also got the trio: Potato Head, Lizard Lady, and Human.
And Jenny.
Jenny.
Known affectionately as the Pet Noster Gang. I hope I'm saying that right. Who first appeared in the episode A Good Man Goes to War, incredible Matt Smith episode. Each one of the three have their own history and origins within Doctor Who. But Clara, first of all, has the richest of all origin stories. Played by the lovely Jenna Coleman. Made her first appearance in Asylum of the Daleks, September 2012, episode 1 of season 7, where she played Oswin. Spoilers, she was a Dalek the whole time. And then she makes her return as Clara Oswin Oswald in the 2012 Christmas special, The Snowman. And it's then that the Doctor, at the time, played by Matt Smith, was like, wait a minute. I know that voice, because he had never seen Oswin's face. Because, as I said, she was a Dalek the whole time. So he never saw her face. But he heard her voice. He didn't hear her as the Dalek. He heard Oswin as Oswin. So as he's walking by, and this pretty young tavern wench asks if he built a
Rude! You don't call women wenches anymore. What year is this?
Well, this is 2024. That was 1880. So
wench.
I think when she went to fill out the job, it was, she had to write on the paper tavern wench.
Yeah.
Just guessing.
I think barmaid was more acceptable, but okay.
Okay, I sit corrected. Barmaid.
There you go.
So this pretty barmaid, that's when he hears the voice and instantly makes the connection, but blows her off. She's not one to let that go, so she follows, and the snowman progresses thusly. And you could see the Doctor is starting to become enamored with this person who he's met twice and has died twice. So now I'm like, okay, I have got to find out who this.
So was she a descendant of the bar maiden?
No, she was the same person.
She's the same person. This is where the Impossible Girl story starts from.
It's been a while since I've seen it, if you hadn't tell.
She becomes a full-time companion in Bells of St. John, Series 7, Episode 7. And thus the Impossible Girl story begins, and it goes and it intertwines with the Doctor and his regeneration, which leads us here, which leads us to a T-Rex stomping through London.
Does anybody feel like Big Ben should have got smashed a little bit by the T-Rex? Because like it was so close.
No, because
it's been done.
Yeah, exactly. It's been done. I forget who it was in the first series. The ship crashed into Big Ben. Let's leave Big Ben alone.
Leave Big Ben alone.
Yes, leave Taylor and Big Ben alone. So we see, okay, we know we're watching Doctor Who when we see a dinosaur tromping through London and eventually coughing up a little blue box. Madame Vastra, played by Nev McIntosh.
Oh, they're going to say Campbell.
Jenny Flint, played by Caitlin Stewart. And Strax, Dan Starkey, come to investigate and see the TARDIS being expelled from the dinosaur. Madame Vastra, a Solarian, is a descendant of the dinosaurs. There's some great history with this race. If you're interested, definitely look them up. They have some great stories and some really wonderful ties and wonderful episodes all throughout the history of Doctor Who. But yes, these are basically, the Solarians are dinosaurs that evolved to become humanoid, but they're still all lizard. And Madame Vastra in this episode comes out so male. Even, one of the first lesbian couples that we've seen. Vestra and Jenny are wives. They are very much in love. But Madame Vastra, even though she loves Jenny very much, isn't opposed to flirting with the new girl. Did anyone else notice this, or am I just projecting?
I think you're projecting.
No, you
do.
I think that she was totally enamored with Clara.
I'm just messing with you.
Okay.
Because I think
she was.
I think even Doctor Who was flirting with the dinosaur, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh well, of course.
Oh yeah.
Well, look at her. She was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And,
But how messed up?
When you happen to speak dinosaur, it makes life a lot easier.
Don't you know I speak dinosaur? So was the TARDIS always that roughed up, or was it because of the dinosaur?
No, I think that was just from being in the gullet of
Of the
a
dinosaur.
50,000-ton lizard.
Plus, Capaldi crashed it a couple of times, I'm sure.
This is true, yeah.
Yeah. So how did you guys feel about Clara, Jace? How did you feel about Clara?
I actually did not care for Clara the first season that she was on the show with Matt Smith. Let me put it this way: I loved Oswin, and I loved Clara from the Snowmen. But whenever Clara Prime showed up, I found her very underwhelming. I guess because the first two characters were just so much fun, and then they did the Impossible Girl bit, and I thought that's interesting, but it's not that I didn't care for the character. It's just, I think I was just very underwhelmed by her. And once the Impossible Girl was over with, I was just thinking, well, where does she go from here? There's nothing left for her to do. And then they did the 50th, and then they did the Trinzalore. I don't really think Clara came into her own until the 50th anniversary episode. And during the Capaldi era, I believe she just absolutely blossomed. And you see that in this episode because Jenna Coleman does some fantastic acting whenever she's in the room with the Clockwork Man, because she's scared, but she's trying to keep control of the situation. And that is something, as an actor, is so tough to do. And she did it like a champ. This was the best we'd seen Clara so far. And she only got better under the Capaldi era. I know that there's a lot of Clara haters out there. And I want to be fair to you. You're wrong and stupid. There you go.
You heard it here first. Well, the interesting thing about this particular episode of Doctor Who is the Matt Smith era had made Doctor Who such a massive success between the snowball from Tennant into Smith. It just grew and grew and grew. I actually got to see this episode live in a movie theater. They had an AMC Fathom
they did
event.
a Fathom events for it?
They did a Fathom event, and I saw it live in the theater.
Nice.
At in Clifton AMC. It was some years ago, and actually when it premiered that time ago, and I loved it, and I was enamored with this Doctor from the get. I was like, first of all, this is the first time I've seen Doctor Who on the big screen because I missed the Eighth Doctor's movie, so that
never aired in the theaters.
Oh, really? The sci-fi original?
No, that was made for TV.
Oh, wow.
It was a Fox original too. It wasn't a sci-fi original. It was
Yes.
It was
Fox
a Fox
Network.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was a Fox original, yeah.
Well, I never saw
know?
that.
Do you know who was offered the role of the Eighth Doctor and turned it down?
Ooh, I do not.
Jim Carrey.
Oh,
that I did
Back
not
whenever
know.
he was a little known actor, he was offered the role of the Eighth Doctor in the Doctor Who TV movie, and he turned it down because he said, I was not a fan of Doctor Who, but I knew that a lot of people were, and I did not feel right taking a part I was not that familiar with if people were so invested in it.
What a dope
That's
move.
rather admirable.
Yeah.
Since we're playing coulda, woulda, shoulda, I just found out today in my research that a young Peter Capaldi auditioned for the role of a certain Benjamin Sisko in Deep Space Nine.
What? I didn't know that.
Yes. I did
Wow,
not.
I had
either.
no idea. That's
Nope.
I was watching a history of Deep Space Nine video, a Star Trek retrospective, and they were talking about Deep Space Nine, and they mentioned Peter Capaldi, and I was just like, that would have been interesting.
I know.
It would have been really interesting. I hesitate to say better because obviously we'll never know. But
I don't know. Avery
Peter
Brooks
Capaldi being such. Oh, what? No, I mean, as the show became what it is, no one could do what Avery Brooks did.
Yeah. You guys know who else was almost Mr. Captain Sisko? Carl Weathers.
No.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yes, I heard about that. Yep.
Yeah, that one. Honest and rest in peace, Carl. Forever Apollo. But I don't know if he could have pulled it off.
He would have pulled it off. Not as good as Avery Brooks, though.
Not as good as Avery Brooks.
Yeah. What do you think, Chase?
I can tell you another actor who was considered for the role of Benjamin Sisko.
Okay.
Alexander Siddig, Dr. Bashir.
That I knew. Yep.
Yeah, they were considering him for the role of Sisko.
Something about that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm like, why?
No, he would have been all right.
He was 25 years old when they shot the pilot.
It's okay.
How is a 25-year-old supposed to have a 16-year-old kid? It's ridiculous. And I'm taking nothing away.
He got started early.
Yeah, my
Cloning.
nephew's
Apparently.
daughter. That's really
I'm taking nothing away from Sid. Sid is a wonderful actor, a terrific person. If you ever get a chance to meet Alexander at a convention, definitely go. If he's at a convention in your neighborhood, definitely go check him out. Go meet him, shake his hand, talk, and let him talk to you because that's something he loves to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw him
meeting him in
Oh,
Philly.
I saw him in Philly. Yeah, when we met, I met him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember meeting him. And that's where I met you the first time. And then I saw you.
It's so funny because I don't know if you remember. This has quickly turned into
a Star Trek episode.
Star
Okay.
Trek.
This is a
Yeah.
long show. If you're really into Star Trek, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check us out on the Captain Squadron.
I was gonna say, I'm sure there's some fallover in our demographic.
For sure.
I was in my Chief O'Brien cosplay, and I had recently come back from a debilitating elbow injury. I had reconstructive surgery on my arm. I was out of work for a year, physical therapy, blah, blah, blah. So, but what I always thought was funny, it was the same shoulder that O'Brien hurt.
Oh, neat.
So when I went to take the picture with him, I gave him medical tricorder. I'm like, Sid, this is blah, 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 blah. and told him, and I was like, could you just do it? And he was great, terrific pictures. I'll share them with you if you're interested.
Yep.
But the wonderful thing about Sid though is after mugging for the camera, he sits down and he goes, so how exactly did you, the scar? How did you hurt your arm? And he was genuinely concerned.
Yeah,
When
nice
he
guy.
speaks to his fans, he genuinely wants to know about you.
Yep.
And just a wonderful, wonderful person.
So back to Doctor Who.
Back to Doctor Who.
We have some new villain that joined the cast this year.
I shall now kill you, Doctor.
Yes, so we've got this weird dude.
Now,
Now, were these Clockwork
credited
Men, or
as yes, he's credited as Half-Faced Man,
okay,
played by Peter
Capaldi?
Ferdinando.
Oh, okay.
And the whole time the newly regenerated Doctor is saying something is familiar, something is familiar, something is familiar. Yes, we have seen them before. This ship that crashed was the sister ship of the Madame de Pompadour. These were the same robots that were in Girl in the Fireplace, Series 2, Episode 4 with David Tennant.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the clockwork androids.
The
Clockwork
Clockwork
Androids.
Androids. Yeah, I thought they.
Mhm.
I was like, this. Even I'm thinking like. Now I remember seeing this the first time X many years ago, and I'm like, oh, these are that's the Clockwork Men. They brought them back. That's cool. That's a nice villain to rehash. And I remembered, but it's like, didn't they have masks on or something like that? And didn't they like dance? I remember there was like a whole big thing. I was like, I'm noticing they're not dancing this time around, which is probably for the better. They're very interesting.
Well, they had completely changed. Whereas in Girl in the Fireplace, they were taking human parts to fix, the machinery.
Mm-hmm.
Here, they were taking the human parts to make themselves more human.
Yeah.
Which was his inevitable downfall.
Right.
And which is why he ended up in heaven. Where we meet the absolutely stunning Michelle Gomez. There she is.
Yep. Who reminds me of Susie Sue from Susie and the Banshees.
Oh, there is definitely Susie Sue vibes coming off.
So much so when it first came out, I'm pulling out the phone. Is that Susie Sue? Susie Sue? And in this case is where we're building up the mystery of this big overlying plot. Missy is behind, like the next episode, the villain there gets offed, and we're seeing Missy again. And we just keep running into her. And you're like, what is going on with this? And then if I'm not mistaken, they just drop it for a little bit.
Nope.
No, they just everyone.
They dropped the heaven angle,
right?
Because then they had to focus on other stories in time, because they had to get the Billy Pink story. How to get you caring about, or as the Doctor calls him, PE. How to get the fans caring about PE so that when he gets killed randomly and off screen, we're supposed to care that he's in heaven.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that now. Yeah.
This was all a lead up to that episode. Again, Stephen Moffat, the king of the long game. All hail the king. The king of the long game, and the year-long storyline.
Yeah. What did you feel about Missy and the Clockwork Men, Jace?
I loved Missy from the first moment she showed up, and it's
very cool character.
Am I hello?
Yeah, you're good.
Yes, you're good now.
You're good.
You hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. I was gonna say I loved Missy from the. You can't hear me.
No, we hear you just fine over the sunglasses.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. You're good.
Very well. I loved Missy from the first moment she showed up, and it was her last line when she says, because Michelle Gomez just has this wonderful, wide, beautiful, but psychotic smile. And she said,
Mm.
"Welcome to heaven." And she smiles and she goes, she like bites. And I was like,
Yes.
I don't
Yeah,
know
that
who
she's
this is, but this is the most entertaining character on the show now.
Yeah. And she was
And
amazing.
I'm
without a
yeah,
doubt.
I've just yeah. She's my favorite master. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care about well, I'm not gonna say I don't care, but everybody goes with like the classic masters or John Simpson. No, it's Michelle Gomez. She's the best
No,
master.
Michelle Gomez.
Yeah.
It is absolutely Michelle Gomez,
Well,
without a doubt.
here's a
So
fun
much so
thing.
that we named our dog Missy.
Oh, there it is. There it is. And
Nice.
this was an interesting
Good
thing that I
choice. Good
noticed.
choice.
Thank you.
Did you guys catch that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, Amy played in that same little
I did not
water
catch
fountain. Yeah.
that. Excellent. Well, it wouldn't be the first time that they reused.
What episode was that
locations,
from? The top one.
Yeah.
I don't recall. I found the photo, but not the information. So yay, can look, figure it out, friends.
Fans, we're giving you more homework to do.
Yeah, go find it and let us know.
That's right, folks. You tune into the console room for our wonderful ADHD conversation and homework. The overarching storyline with Michelle Gomez as Missy was such a highlight of Peter Capaldi's tenure. And I'm so glad that they kept her throughout the entirety of his run. In fact, she was intricate in his regeneration, so much so that the two masters and it's teaming up with Cybermen is what eventually did in 12. And I can't imagine anyone but Michelle Gomez playing this character in all her gorgeous Victorian dresses and dressed classically, but yet she's got that modern edge to her. I mean, come on.
Yeah, because if you look at her bracelet, even that's very punk rock.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I got
Speaking of punk rock,
mm-hmm.
Apparently I did not pay very good attention to my copious notes. But speaking of punk rock, did you know that Peter Capaldi, our new doctor, every time you see the doctor playing the guitar,
he's actually
Peter Capaldi. Yes.
Yep.
And he was in a punk band in the 80s with Colin Ferguson.
Yep.
Colin Ferguson was the drummer. I would love to get my hands on
I guess
some
Jason
of those tapes. Wow, I stumped Jace. Awesome.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's one thing I'm going to say is one line that I like is the doctor lies, because when he faces off with the Clockwork Man at the end, and he says one of us is lying, and I never kill anybody is what he said early right before that. And then he says, one of us is lying, and then he pushes him, but you don't see it. And the way they edited it was so cool because they're all fighting.
You don't know if he pushed him or you couldn't tell which one was lying.
Right. Yeah, it was done so brilliantly. So that is one of
There was also a lot of comedy in this episode.
Yeah. Well, when you got the Three Stooges here joining the fray, I think that for sure there's going to be some comedic elements that are going to be heavy in the episode.
But even like slapsticky though.
Yeah.
And it's funny you call them the Three Stooges. Even from the sound effect that yeah. Well, the sound effect that they used when Vestra was mind melding with the doctor, you heard that that drop and crash sound effect that laid the doctor out.
Yeah.
And then Clara getting hit in the face with the newspaper.
Yeah.
Very cartoony.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'm wondering if that was done. They deliberately tried to make it funny to take away from the doctor's brashness. Because I'm sure you all noticed, he was kind of a dick.
I didn't find him to be a dick. I just felt him
Mhm.
to be confused because he's going through this whole process, and it's no different from Sylvester McCoy
You
or
don't think so? 'Cause
no.
it seemed to me
Jace?
like he was being very insulting to everyone. Like when he was talking about again with Madam Vester. Talking about having a conversation. Oh, I usually fall asleep when other people are talking. It saves time to get until it gets to my bit.
What do you feel, Jace?
I feel that he was rude. I think that this episode they played it off as the regeneration madness,
Mhm.
saying just mean things to everybody. But to be honest, the rudeness to me started to become more prevalent after this episode.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Because I mean,
Yeah,
in the next
absolutely.
episode, Into the Dalek, he actually says, she's my carer, she cares, so I don't have to.
yeah,
Right.
she's my
I was just like,
caretaker. She
wow,
cares.
Mhm.
what a
Well,
douchebag.
even at the end of
I
this
love that
episode,
line though. It's so cool.
but even at the end of this episode, when Clara's hugging him and he's standing there like he's got his hands like this,
Yeah,
around her, like, ugh. He goes, I don't think I'm a hugger. You don't have a choice.
yeah.
So, and I'm sure that was done on purpose. Again, to show the vast change from here was 11 who would ask Rory permission to hug, and he would hug Amy.
Hmm.
To now, Clara's holding on for dear life. Which, by the way, that scene with 11 calling Clara was absolutely necessary. It's never been done before, but then again, we never had this situation.
He's like, "What up, yo? It's the
Mhm.
doctor."
Just tell me I didn't get old.
Just have gray hairs.
But it was absolutely necessary for Clara. That was the closure that Clara needed. She needed him. She needed to say goodbye to her 11
But didn't she
before
say
she
goodbye
could
because
embrace.
he regenerated in front of her?
Yes, he
So
did, but remember, she'd never witnessed a regeneration before, so it was like, what happened? And by the way, in keeping with our tradition of doctor's first words, Peter Capaldi has the best opening line. Kidneys. I don't like the color.
yeah. Yeah, he has a lot of great, like throughout the whole his time as the doctor, he has a lot of really good one-liners, which I absolutely had fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think they overemphasized the brass and the crusty, curmudgeon Scottish. They did it so much so that by the end of his tenure, by his regeneration, he has come full circle. He is now a loving, caring doctor.
Mm.
Love is always wise, and hate is always foolish.
Yep.
I never ever eat pears.
So I pose this question to you, gentlemen. We'll start with Jason, of course. How do we feel about this first Peter Capaldi episode overall? Just the episode, not his entire run, just this particular episode.
I honestly feel like it's 2 episodes Frankensteined into one.
Mm.
You have the Doctor's arrival and the dinosaur, and then there's all of the funniness with the regeneration, and then the clockwork people show up, and then it seems to stop. The Doctor invites Clara to dinner, and it becomes a completely separate episode. And to me, it almost makes the episode lose its flow, become meandering. Certainly not a bad episode, but I feel like it could have done with another rewrite, make the flow a little bit more smooth, maybe even take off 10 to 15 minutes that the episode didn't need, because there's a big long stretch in the middle where it just seems like the episode's just doing this over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, if you look, obviously, I watch with the subtitles, and I just happened to pause it in the restaurant scene. You did not even know who they were fighting that there was even, other than with that one scene in the street with the guy with his eyes, you didn't even know that there was an antagonist until halfway into the episode. It was literally at the halfway point.
Mm.
So, I mean, now this begs the question, did we really need it? Did we really need this antagonist? Or any, for that matter. We had such a great story going with the Doctor, struggling with the generation and then looking at this new face and trying to figure out why he knows it, to dealing with Clara and Clara's whole bias and Madame Vestra, calling, humans are apes, men are monkeys.
Yeah, that was I felt that was unnecessary.
Actually, no, it really wasn't. That was, again, written by a man, a man writing for a gay woman.
Okay.
Think about it that way.
Yeah.
But you had, again, this, this wonderful story. Did we really? It was great to see. It was great to see the robots from Girl in the Fireplace again. But did we?
If anything, we got the robots back from Girl in the Fireplace.
Yeah, but did we need them?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? Maybe have just some random story going on in the background, but have the main story be this new Doctor. Not to mention, also remember the circumstances of this regeneration.
Mm-hmm.
Time of the Doctor showed the Time Lords giving the Doctor a whole new life cycle. So this was not a natural regeneration. So all the other problems that he had with every other regeneration, this was just completely different because it was literally starting from scratch. 13 was essentially his first new life in his new life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes a major regeneration needs a brain reboot to begin with. But rebooting for a new life cycle, they could have done, and far be it from me to critique the great Stephen Moffat. But again, did we really need the androids? I don't think so.
I think so. I like the I think because you're building this whole story with the different villains that the Doctor comes across, and you have this over arc of the main villain that's behind it all, and then coming together. But it's from happenstance, not really from a plot that Missy came up with. I thought it was a nice touch, because it's like, okay, there's something that's sending this, and there's something that's pulling us together outside of what we know and outside of what I know as the Doctor. So who is it? So that was the big overall mystery. It was really a nice touch.
And they left that mystery hanging.
Yeah, they left
who
it
put
hanging.
the ad in the paper?
Yeah.
Who gave Clara the Doctor's phone number?
Right.
We find out in time who it was.
Yeah, the next season, right? It wasn't even in this season.
I believe it was in the next season. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
the next season.
No, it was in the episode where we find out that Missy is the mistress.
At the end.
At the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Because to show that she was playing. Wait, you know what?
I think that was
honestly.
there.
I'm gonna have to recheck that.
Yeah.
Because it might.
We'll just go with them, right? And it took a whole nother season to get to this, and that's how well the long story, right?
Yeah. But again, the long game.
Yeah, long game. What about you, Jace? What did you feel
about
worth it?
I think that's honestly where the episode went wrong. Oh. I actually thought about this for a long time, thinking about what could have been done to improve this episode. I mean, you had a dinosaur in the Thames, and you had, you have to basically show that the Doctor could kill this is the dangerous Doctor. Mm-hmm. The Clockwork People were unnecessary. Why not have the dinosaur be the MacGuffin of the episode? And why not have like a big game hunter to show up to kill the dinosaur, and the Doctor's trying to protect the dinosaur? And at the end, did the Doctor leave the man to get eaten by the dinosaur as he sent the dinosaur home, or was that an accident? I think that would have just been smoother instead of having a callback like that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
There was that big hunt. There was that big game hunter in series 7, episode I believe 2, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Oh yeah, I could have brought him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They could
Yeah,
have.
because it was
only a year
it was David
ago.
Brad. It wasn't it David Bradley?
It
Or
was
am I
not
thinking of
David
somebody else?
Bradley. It was not David Bradley. It was the episode with David Bradley, but David Bradley didn't play the Hunter. The Hunter was flirting with Nefertiti the whole time.
That's right.
And Amy was basically putting him in his place because he kept talking about guns and killing, and Amy was like, men.
No, you were right.
Yeah.
David Bradley was cast as Solomon, the episode's main villain.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Hunter that I'm talking about.
But he wasn't the Hunter, though.
No,
right,
no,
he wasn't
no.
the Hunter.
But he wasn't the doctor because he's like William Hartell's doctor.
Right. Well, this
Right.
is before they cast
No, he
him
was
as
not the
William
doctor.
Hart-
No.
Right.
No.
He was not the doctor.
Yeah.
That's just yet another instance of a face that we've seen in the past go on to play something else. And another thing I noticed, one of the characters, the guy who got his eyes taken.
Yeah, I've
I
seen
didn't
him before too.
Yes, he's been in Game of Thrones. He played the knight who was drunk, and Joffrey was going to kill him by drowning him in wine, and Sansa saves his life.
Jeez.
And yeah, we're just crossing every fandom tonight, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Doctor
Whatever
Who,
we
baby.
do,
Everything's
just don't
connected.
bring up Firefly. Just don't
Oh,
bring
I
up
love
Firefly.
Firefly.
I love Firefly. That. Well, then the show is going to go into about 3 hours.
Yeah.
What's Firefly?
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Oh, I was gonna say that's gonna be one that you need to put on your.
I was
VHS.
going to say.
Sure.
So, I think all in all, an excellent introduction into Peter Capaldi. We also didn't mention the final unveil of Peter Capaldi's costume, the final Doctor costume. And as we discussed last week with Jody, Peter did have some input on his costume, and one of the things that he said, his inner nerd, his childhood nerd comes out. He requested, his only request was that it would be easy for fans to cosplay.
What a nice guy.
Come on.
That's awesome.
How awesome is that? If you're on if you are a big Doctor Who fan, but you don't really have a big budget to buy all these expensive costumes, you know what? Everybody needs a black suit. Everybody needs a black suit. So just shirt buttoned up and a black jacket, and you're the 11th, and you're the 12th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to him for that. Just yet another many reasons to love Peter Capaldi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that is going to wrap it up for this another wondrous episode of the Console Room. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you are watching online, please be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be seen. We have a lot more things coming out at you. We have Shedding Light is going deep into The Last of Us again. And in case you missed that, you definitely want to see that. And then our show 1 week later is back up. That premiered yesterday. And that one, we are diving into the review of Agent Argyle, or also known as Argyle, which stars John Cena.
His name is John Cena.
Yes. And it also had a ton of other people: Bryan Cranston, Dua Lipa. It's just star-studded. We were talking about it. Was it a good movie? It was a movie. So be sure to check.
It's great to see John Cena getting some work.
Yeah, that's always good.
Him in Peacemaker was his.
What's funny? Wasn't Peter? No, that was Suicide.
He was in The Thinker.
Suicide Squad.
I get to tie this into Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Peter Capaldi played the Thinker in The Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Where John Cena plays Peacemaker.
Yep. If you enjoyed,
so there's our tie-in.
There's our tie-in. If you enjoy Star Trek, as we talked so much about in the middle of this, be sure to check out our Deep Space Nine look back, the Agony Booth, the storyteller, with a very surprised villain. All these years, I always thought like, oh, the villain of this episode is the Dalrog, but no, it was the storyteller. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
Ruined it for me.
Pervert. Absolute pervert.
Absolute pervert. And if you are a fan of Jason Roy Gaston, who needs no introduction, be sure to go check him out on the Jason Roy Gaston channel, which just hit 10,000 subscribers. Congratulations to you, Jason, and your other friend, our producer, our hero, Jason Hatswell, VHS
The Thunder from Down Under himself.
Yeah. They're talking about movie and streaming news every Friday night, 6:30, 8 p.m. here in the United States with his boy Rick, who looks like he was a part of Agent Argyle as well. Be sure to check out our friends, the Sci-Fi Queens, who are diving into movies, books, and wonderful things of all women in sci-fi every minute they can, every 2 weeks on the Sci-Fi Queens channel. Of course, check out our friends, the Scarif Podcast, pure, unadulterated nerd talk on the Red 5 Network. Oh, that's Scuttlebutt. They're talking about Star Wars. So if you're into that, be sure to check them out. And of course, we are brought to you by the good people at the AJ Orsini's Uncensored Mind podcast, where they're getting into pop culture as well as all things wrestling. And they talked a little bit about that football thing that was happening this weekend. So you're going to want to check them out and see all of those wondrous things there that they are diving into.
Oh, you mean that stupid game that kept interrupting all the trailers and stuff?
Yes, that they're talking about that. And if you're into gaming, please join me over at the Captain's Quadrant every Friday. We are diving into the Star Trek Prodigy Supernova game. I just unlocked Rock Toe, so there's a lot of fun to be had there. So
congratulations.
Yeah, so come join me playing the video games.
For anyone who follows Will Wheaton on Facebook.
Wheaton!
Wheaton!
Yeah.
He did a great reel yesterday about he was he couldn't wait. He heard so much about this Taylor Swift concert. He couldn't wait to see it. Turns on his TV and it's a football game.
Annoying.
Obviously, Will is a lot funnier than I am and delivers this with a lot more entertainment. And I killed it. I may have destroyed the punchline, but definitely check this out. It's one of his funnier reels. And if you're not already following Will, why are you watching? If you're
watching because you're here for Doctor Who, not Star Trek. Remember, and Jason's here. That's why you're watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right.
People come back, not leave. Jesus,
you're here for me and kitties.
Yes,
there you go.
And my dog somewhere, wherever he is. All right.
Will Wheaton is, basically the uncrowned king of nerds.
Yes,
so,
absolutely. All right. So we will see you next time.
Hello, sweetie.